This, my friends, is the playbook.
We got week 2 coming up in 2 short days. We are diving straight in to week 2 of the NFL game picks against the spread. Like I said, Colin, Addison, and Bobby are all tied in first place at 8-8. Sage in second at 7-9, and I'm bringing up the caboose at 6-10. But this week I go 16-0, so whatever. No biggie. Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Goldfine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video. First game, Thursday night football when your Miami Dolphins take on the Buffalo Bills in Miami. The spread I have is Miami minus 2.5. Addison, I want to start with you. Tell me about it.
Well, you know that I love to pick against the Miami Dolphins any opportunity that I'm given. I am going to take the Buffalo Bills here just because we sort of touched on it earlier. The way the Miami run game looked, it's not going to be able to possess the ball as much as they would like against this Buffalo Bills team in general, which will just result in more snaps for the offense, more snaps for Josh Allen. And sure, the weapons might not be there, but Khalil Shakur is there, and Allen still is a freak. They were able to put up numbers against the Arizona Cardinals. Sure, it's a bad defense, but they still were able to score points. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills on the road here just to spite you.
Respect. I like it. Bobby, coming over here to you. What do you got?
Yeah, give me I got Miami. I think that at some point, Josh Allen's phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but at some point, you can only do so much. You know, he can't be a superhero every single week. I think Miami's offense will prove to be too potent, especially it's not, negative 20 degrees yet. Also, kind of weird side note, bad things, shout out, no tight ends had a good fantasy week. I have Dalton Kincaid. I don't know if the Raiders quadruple teamed him or what was going on, but yeah, I wasn't, like I said, I don't think Josh Allen can continue to put the team on his back every single week. And I think at some point throughout the season, we'll see this Bills roster is a little bit depleted. So that along with all the weapons Miami has, and hopefully they get back to pounding the rock. So I like Miami in this one. So
yeah, and they did lose for the week starting corner Taron Johnson, who's always been a fiend against us. He locks us down. He is out for this week. And Josh Allen did hurt his hand last game. He will be playing, but he did land on his hand, his left hand funny, and had to have it wrapped for a little while. So, but he is going to play, and he is an alien, an actual alien. Colin, coming to you next. What you got?
Yeah, this is a tough one here. 2.5. Usually I like to go with a side that's getting the or laying the 2.5 because a field goal wins it. However, you look Josh Allen 10-2 against the Dolphins in his career, 33 tuds, passing 7 picks. He does have your number, Nate. However, you look at the game last year in Miami, you guys got him. I do have the Bills winning the division, but not this game. Give me the Dolphins minus the 2.5.
Okay.
I just want to shout out Jalen Phillips really quick, coming back from the injury, sack, 3 pressures. I even questioned him a little bit. Just want to say that real quick. Good game from Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, good game. 10 months post-Achilles tear. He looked very good.
How'd Chop do?
Nothing. Not a thing.
Okay.
He had one pressure. He had a pressure. He got held.
Okay.
They didn't call it. He had one pressure. I'll take it. He's busy chopping. Sage, I'm coming to you next. What you got in this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to pick against the Dolphins at home in September. That just sounds like a recipe for disaster for me. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins this week. Even though it's hard not to take Josh Allen with some points, but no, give me the Dolphins right there. I think they clean up a few things, but you got to remember, like the Bills, they still let up 28 points against the Cardinals, who are the Cardinals. You know, I mean, whether you like to admit it or not, they're not supposed to be a good team right now. They have some weapons available, but I think the Dolphins' weapons are just more explosive, especially early on in the season. They got some things that they're probably saving just for this game. I will say I'm a little nervous because Raheem Mostert and
Banged up.
neither one have practiced this week, and the game is 2 days. So if they don't have either of their one or two, maybe it's a Jalen Wright game right here. We get to see what he's made out of.
Yep.
If he plays.
Yeah. He's scheduled to be the guy if neither of them can go.
Yeah.
Jalen Wright.
But yeah, I like your guys' receivers against their secondary a lot more than I liked even the Cards against their secondary last week. So give me the Dolphins.
Okay, I like it. I'm playing the odds here, right? Last week, and this is just based on 1 week sample. Last week, Addison was by himself one time. That resulted in a 47 to 10. 47 to 10 New Orleans Saints victory. So obviously, I'm not going to let him ride by himself. I can't. And me and Addison, just the two of us, were on the same side twice. Both times lost bad. Therefore, me and Addison are going to be on the Bills in this game for the picks purposes, because why not? I'll take the Bills plus the 2.5 points. However, I do like Miami in this game in general. Maybe Miami just wins by 1. There we go. That's what I'm going to go with. Miami wins by 1 or 2. Fantastic. This Jacksonville game the Dolphins just played is a game that the last 2 seasons the Dolphins lose. The Dolphins lose this game because they got punched in the mouth. Dolphins have been a front-running team where they get out ahead of you. The speed, you can't keep up. We're just going to pound you, and you're never going to be able to keep up with us. We got punched in the fucking mouth by Jag. They were up 17-7. They were up 14-0. And we just battled back. And we did not have a run game at all. No run game at all. And we battled back. We never made a crucial mistake. We got very fortunate with that fumble into the end zone. And I do like that we're the home team on a short week. Home teams typically win about 60% of the Thursday night football games. It's home on a short week, and the Bills are as hurt as any team in the NFL. Like, just top to bottom. They are a banged-up football team. So I do like Miami money line in this game. However, me and Addison are going to ride on the Bills together because I got to do it.
Just shout out quickly as well. Hill and Waddle combined for over 50% of the offense for the Dolphins.
That's
over 200
yards. Go ahead and get used to that.
Yeah.
That's how that's going to go every week, man. Like, I'd love to include more guys, but they're just so damn fast. How do you not give them the ball?
Yeah,
that seems silly to not do it. All right, let's move on to Sunday. First game I've got here is Las Vegas at Baltimore. Currently, the line is Baltimore minus 9.5. I'm going to start us. I'm on Baltimore here. This game screams to me, and I can just literally see it in my head. This is the Ravens. I'm angry that we lost a game that we felt like we should win, but we're going to take it out on the helpless Las Vegas Raiders. This is like a 21 to 24 point blowout, in my opinion. Give me the Ravens minus 9.5. Bobby, I'm coming to you. What you got?
Oh, let's take it back to this time last year. A guy named Gardner Minshew was leading the Colts, and they ended up beating the Ravens. He's now the quarterback of the Raiders. I also think at some point that defensive line from the Raiders has got something to prove now after last week. By no means do I think they beat the Ravens, but I do like the Raiders. Give me the 9.5 points.
A lot of points.
Give me a little grimy, dirty, low-scoring game where the Raiders can at least keep it close till the end. Obviously like touchdown victory, something like that. But like I said, give me the Raiders plus 9.5. So Gardner Minshew mania. Let's go, baby.
Mania, baby. Woo. Minshew mania, brother. Colin, what you got?
Yeah, just looking at the slate here, I'm also on the Raiders with the 9.5. It's either going to go one of two ways, right? Either the Ravens are going to be down 10-0 after the first quarter, or they're going to be up, they're going to win the game by 20 or more. Or they could do both. Realistically, they could do both. I just think a lot of people are going to expect that bounce back spot in the home opener, especially after the Raiders looked like they did against the Chargers, who are not a good football team at this moment. But give me the Raiders with the points. Why not? I took 9.5 point spread last week on the money line in my locks, and they lost outright. So I will not take another 9.5 until they cover.
Reasonable. Addison, coming to you. What you got?
Yeah, Bobby, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I feel like it would have gone that way if the Ravens beat the Chiefs in week 1. But Nate, I am in complete agreement with you that they are pissed off that they lost that game against the Chiefs the way they did. I will say Lamar Jackson questionable. I'm sure he goes, but obviously a little banged up after that game against the Chiefs. I mean, carried 16 times for $122. Very impressive. But I think the Ravens are going to cover the 9.5. I think it could be a beatdown. This game's 45-10, 45-17. Antonio Pierce, already a questionable decision last week with that punt. Instead of going for it, analytics, whatever, you got to trust in your team. I don't know. It was, in my opinion, a wrong decision. So So who knows? Could he lose the locker room quickly? Maybe after an 0-2 start. Give me the Ravens to cover here big time.
Okay. Sage, for the second week in a row, you're the deciding vote in the Ravens football game. So I don't know which way you're going. Where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had to think about it just because there's so many points, but I do believe the Ravens are just pissed off right now. You're going to give me the Ravens minus the 9.5. Gosh, I think we're so mad. I think Max Crosby has a better game against us just because we do have 3 offensive linemen that we're kind of shuffling around right now, seeing what's going on. Roger Rosengarten kind of struggled against Chris Jones, as did Bakari and our guard, like everyone did. It was a rough game on the offensive line, which is why we had to scramble so many times. But hey, Isaiah Likely looks like the truth.
Yep.
Absolutely love watching him get out there and get after it. I think Mark Andrews is still a top-notch tight end. Zay Flowers had all the catches in the world. I think he's on pace for like 190 catches for 457 yards.
Damn you, Addison.
But I just think our defense absolutely our offense in the grand scheme of things. I think our defense just holds them to 10 points.
Yeah. If the Chargers did it, the Ravens defense is so much better. So much better than the Chargers defense. That's what I'm going with. And it's the home opener. I love Baltimore at home in this spot. And yeah, I know it's silly. It seems silly to say like, oh, they're going to be so angry that they're going to win the football game. Like that sounds stupid, right? But I really do think that the Ravens are going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. Like you heard the players after the game. Like they were talking their talk. Like we should have beaten the Chiefs. We were the better team. If they play like that in the playoffs, we're going to knock them off. Like they were talking the shit. They have to back it up, and they know that. They have to know that.
You guys hear how mad Isaiah Likely was at that fan in the tunnel?
Oh, yeah. He was yelling. He was big mad. I love it.
He got a blocker for sure.
Oh, yeah. Next up, we've got Cleveland Browns taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville spread minus 3.5 at home. This one's a weird one. This one wasn't too hard for me to pick. I think I'm overcorrecting a little bit because I was really high on Cleveland last week against Dallas, and Dallas shut me up big time. So I'm going to go so far. And I think Deshaun Watson is maybe, and I heard this on Barstool, so I'm stealing this from Barstool. There's a chance that Deshaun Watson is a better person than he is football player. Let that sink in. Really think about that. Deshaun Watson as a person may be better than he is as a football player. Baker Mayfield has put up significantly better stats than him ever since he left and Deshaun came in. Like Deshaun is getting sued again as of today too. A new sexual assault case is against him already. Like he's done. He's out. Therefore, I'm all on the Jags minus 3.5. I like the Jags defense. I like the Jags offense. The Browns got beat up. They just got beat up. They could not move the ball at all. I think Jags will have a little bit of success at home and only 3.5 points. Give me the Jags. Bobby, I'm coming to you.
Honestly, I have the Jags minus 3.5 as well, even though I hate it because I do love that Browns defense a lot. But I do think him and Daniel Jones are the 2 worst quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion. Ever since, he's just never been able to put it together. Honestly, if I'm the Browns, I'm rolling Jameis Winston out early and often, at least get some morale going. But yeah, give me the Jags. I think Lawrence is going to put it together. I think the Jags do have a good team. And I just think the Browns are just all out on Deshaun Watson. So give me the Jags minus 3.5, even though I really hate it because I do like that Browns defense. So
yeah, I get it. Colin, thoughts on this game?
Yeah, going back and forth, I do love that 3.5 hook, and I do think it's a spot where this might be a weird week because either I'm going to do really well or I'm going to do really, really bad.
Yep.
And I'm going to take the Browns with the 3.5 there. I think, everyone's like, oh, Jacksonville gave Miami a run for their money. That's a tough place to go play and win. Jags are right there. On the other side, the Browns are about as low as their stock has been in years. I mean, Deshaun Watson, it's bad when Brady and Burkhardt are up in the booth yelling, tight end, tight end, tight end, as the joke is wide open and Deshaun just flush, just eyes not downfield in the slightest. But give me the Browns here. Why not?
Okay, respect. Why not? That's
I
my
had
favorite
one why
reason.
not pick last week, and it was the Giants plus the 1.5, and they got destroyed. So give me the Browns. Why not?
Why not? Love it. Sage, thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Jacksonville right here. I think they should have won last week if it wasn't for that ETN fumble and then a Tyreek Hill 80-yarder immediately after that. I mean, that's a 14 wing right there. I think they had like a 92% chance of winning right before he crosses the goal line and fumbles the ball. I think Tank Bigsby gets a bigger load this week. I mean, last week they actually they split carries. It was 12 and 12, and Tank Bigsby had about 7 yards, and ETN had 44.
Yeah, he looked really good. He should get a big load this week.
And the Browns, I mean, they didn't look particularly impressive last week on defense. I mean, they were playing the Cowboys. Cowboys have some weapons. We know who they have. They have CeeDee Lamb. They got some hard players, but regardless, I mean, it's not like they were stopping much. They let up 37 points.
Yeah, they did get destroyed by the Cowboys last week. Addison, thoughts on this game? So many sexual innuendos, Sage.
Hard guys, a lot of
That one
loads.
stint.
Hard guys, a lot of loads being taken this week. And I am on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year, the Jaguars were the 8th best team against the rush. And in week 1 of 2024, they showed it again against the Miami Dolphins. And I believe that they will be able to do that again this upcoming week against the Cleveland Browns. And with Deshaun Watson looking as bad as he does, the run game is what Cleveland needs for the offense. Well, if Jacksonville can shut that down, give me the Jags. I think I've said it all year so far on the pod. I'm extremely high on the Jags. I think this is a game to get them to 1-1, and the Browns is just going to get much worse. I feel bad for the Cleveland fans because they didn't trade for Watson, and they're stuck with his creepy ass, allegedly. But give me the Jags to cover here pretty easily, in my opinion, honestly.
Okay.
Great throw by Trevor Lawrence to Brian Thomas. Great throw. Gotta just shut that out. That way, that's an elite throw. Let's see it all year, please, T-Law.
Yeah. He just didn't have the stats to back it up. I think Trevor played a really solid game. They took the ball out of his hands in the second half.
Yeah.
Completely took the ball out of his hands. I think they threw it 6 times. That's it. They just tried not to lose. And when you try not to lose, more often than not, you're going to lose a football game.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the New York Jets going to Tennessee to take on the Tennessee Titans. Currently, the line is Jets -3.5. Now, looking at this past game for the Jets, I mean, 14 of 21 for 140, a touchdown and a pick and a win. No, sorry, that's Zach Wilson's line from last year. Sorry. Same thing, basically, because Rodgers went 13 of 21 for 167, a touchdown and a pick, but a loss. All trolling aside, though, I'm taking the Jets minus the 3.5 here. What is Will Levis doing? I think Will Levis is very, very bad. The offensive line was disappointing. The only bright spot for the Titans was Tony Pollard. He looked pretty good, but he finally looked explosive. Tried to get at Dallas to do it. They have to pay Hassan Reddick. The Jets do. They just have to. You just have to own up and pay him because you have no pass rush. And without a pass rush, they may be in trouble this game. Also, fun stat about Aaron Rodgers. Couple of them here. It has been 1,003 days since he last threw for 300 yards in a football game. Tom Brady, since Aaron Rodgers last threw for 300 yards, Tom Brady has 2 400-yard football games since Aaron Rodgers went for above 300 yards in a football game. That's crazy to me. That's a crazy stat. He did look a little uncomfortable against the Niners, but the Titans are not the Niners. Let's not kid ourselves. Only 3.5 points is crazy to me. I love the Jets in this spot in a bounce-back game. Give me the Jets. Bobby.
I'm also torn on this. I actually do like the Titans defense a lot more than I think other people do. I think the Sweat is really going to give them their Sweat draft pick this year. He's going to clog up the middle for the Jets, but I do like the Jets in this one. I think Rodgers is going to have a bounce back game. I think that Garrett Wilson will be too much for them to handle. Overall, I think solid challenge the defense, and I think they're going to step up because I do think the Jets defense is good, even though they didn't really show it against the 49ers. So I do like the Jets minus the 3.5, and I just hope they absolutely destroy the Titans and Will Levis, even because he likes Hellman mayonnaise. So give me the Jets.
Fair. That's a great point. The mayonnaise thing is a solid point.
Yeah.
Colin, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you can't trust those guys. Let's keep the trend of, overreacting the other way, overcorrecting, if you will. I'm going to go Jets here as well. I do think they right the ship. You're not playing the Niners in that roster out in Santa Clara this week. You're going to Nashville or wherever Tennessee plays, and it's a much lesser roster, much lesser coaching staff, and I think the Jets get back on track.
I like it. Sage.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Colin as well. I think the Jets get back on track right here. I mean, they didn't really show much against
I just want to know.
I mean, Will Levis absolutely looked terrible. And I wonder how long it's going to take for people to start calling for old Mason Rudolph to come in and right the ship. I know he's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but you know what you're getting out of Mason Rudolph. Aaron Rodgers, he has the weapons. I mean, that first drive that they scored that touchdown on, it looked solid. The only thing is the 49ers kept the ball away from him. I mean, they had 41 minutes of possession. You can't do much without the ball, So all in all, like maybe the Jets this is a get right game, but also they get to practice a lot more against an opponent in game time situation. I mean, hopefully this works out in favor for them later on, because I want to see the Jets actually be good, be competitive just for the league. Don't get me wrong. I want them to miss the playoffs, but Aaron Rodgers throw for 400.
He can't anymore. He can't do it. He can't do it. Addison, are we clean sweeping the Jets? Because if so, I might vomit.
We are clean sweeping the Jets, Jets. I got a shout out. Schedule Makers was listening to Colin Cowherd earlier today, and he actually brought up a good point. Jets' early season schedule is sort of soft. They had the 49ers early for a test, but then they got Tennessee, New England twice, Minnesota, all before week 7 is over. And I think the Jets will bounce back this week. Obviously, the question I have is Tennessee's rush defense looked ferocious with those 2D tackles. And the Jets did seem to want to run the ball on first and second down even at times. So we'll see if they have the answer for that. But Sage, you brought it up. I think it's just a lack of game reps with Aaron Rodgers. And I thought that one drive was something Jets fans can look forward to, hope, because that was a clean, crisp drive and the team looked like a well-oiled machine. But I just think they need more time under real game snaps. Well, guess what? They got some cupcakes on the schedule to figure things out. I think they're going to take care of business on the road and give me the Jets to cover.
All right, clean sweeping the New York Jets in the year of our Lord and Savior 2024. I am sick. San Francisco
back in the division.
Okay. San Francisco at Minnesota. San Francisco minus 6.5 on the road here. You know what? Hey, good job, Sam Darnold. You looked good. You looked real solid. But this is not the New York Giants, my friend. This is an actual football team that will actually play defense and score points against you too. San Francisco is going to win this game. I love San Francisco in this spot to win by a touchdown. Yes, please. Sign me up for that. San Francisco minus 6.5 all day long. Bobby.
I got the same thing. It is crazy that McCaffrey was out since Friday. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But no, I don't really care who they have at running back. Too potent of an offense. I think the Vikings defense will get exposed. And I think too, it'll kind of prove to us how bad the Giants actually are as a team. And Sam Darnold, I don't think is going to lead the NFL in any category. I don't think he's going to lead that team to many more victories. So give me the 49ers. I think this one could be a 28-point victory for the 40. Like, I don't even think this is going to be a game, to be honest with you. I think the 49ers offense and defense, especially in the trenches, is just going to absolutely dominate. I love the 49ers in this spot. So
Yep. I like it. Colin.
Yeah, two teams that won week 1 for sure. A lot of people probably look at that game last year. These two teams played. Big difference is Debo's playing, Trent Williams is playing, and Purdy's unlikely to be concussed during the second half.
Yes.
Who knows? Time will tell, but unlikely. So give me those Niners as well. I think they just are too much.
Okay, I agree. Sage.
I'm trying to pick a reason to go like right here, just because I don't want to be like you guys, but I can't think of one, because my first thought was like, oh, the Vikings, they have the receivers. I mean, if the 49ers have any kind of like weakness, it's their secondary. But then, I mean, you could say the same thing about the Vikings.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I gotta go with the Niners here, just because there's no logical reason to pick the Vikings.
Yeah, it's hard to find one. Except Addison, you got one for us?
Yeah, I mean, my name on Zoom says it all, and it's cock. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings here plus the 6. 1, to be different, and 2, because everybody sees this game and goes, touchdown, Niners, easy money. And I'm sure that is going to be the case. Logic speaking, it should be the 49ers all day. But I think the Vikings are going to be rolling high right now. I mean, it's a 100-yard rusher. It was a quarterback that looked very good. The defense shut things down, so they don't care who's on the other side. They're coming off a great week in the NFL. So it's going to be juices are high in Minnesota. So give me them enough to cover. I'll take the 6.5 to cover. I don't know about win here, but give me Minnesota to keep it close. Maybe San Francisco fans are a little bit worried come halftime when they're down, but I do think San Fran wins the game. But give me Minnesota here at home to cover 6.5 points is a lot of points at home.
I do have a weird feeling about this game. Like, I was looking at it earlier and I was like, like, why am I questioning this, right? It should be obvious. It should be San Francisco, like you'd think, but I'm like, why do I just feel like this is a game San Francisco drops all of a sudden? They're coming off of an absolute beatdown in week 1. And then I'm like, are they going to lose to Sam Darnold? There's no way, right? But then I think I'm a sucker. I'm probably a sucker. So, all right, next up, we've got a game that I don't think I'll watch a lot of. This is the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. I think the Panthers are neck and neck with the Giants for the worst team in the NFL, just overall. More on the Giants later, a lot more on the Giants later. I don't think I can ever pick Carolina to do anything ever again. After that performance against the Saints, I don't think I can ever with a clear conscience say, give me the Panthers. No, I don't believe in them at all. Not one facet of their football team looked good. The only thing that's good for them is now out for the season in Derek Brown. Now what? Now what do? You couldn't move the ball against the Saints. You're probably not going to be able to move the ball against the Chargers. How are you going to stop the run? How are you going to stop anything? I don't know. I'm taking the Chargers minus a 6.5 to win by a tutty here. Bobby, what are your thoughts here?
You got it better than us. Give me the Panthers plus 6.5. Because I absolutely hate them. I think that the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL, but that's why I want the Panthers plus 6.5. Vegas is always wins, so I have no reason behind it, other than I absolutely hate them in this spot. So give me the Panthers plus a 6.5.
That's as good of reasoning as I could ever give, honestly. Just because.
Yeah.
I like that. Colin, where are you going?
This is a weird one. I could see the Chargers not losing outright, but like definitely like late game scare. Last week's theme was I have to see it until I can believe it, and I let my disbelief for the Saints blind my true no faith in the Panthers. I can't do it. I think the Chargers might run for 250. They could win this game and cover without throwing a forward pass. Seriously, they could.
You're not wrong.
And so for that reason, give me the Chargers.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Sage, what are your thoughts?
No, that's a Jim Harbaugh fever dream. If they could just run the ball the entire time.
Literally not pass.
0 for 0. And he'll get 2 touchdowns on the ground too.
Yeah.
But no, I like you said, Nate, I'm gonna agree with you. Bryce Young is a bust. I mean, the one thing that he does well is he escapes pressure in the pocket. He escapes pressure in the pocket extremely well. And I was listening to a podcast, I don't remember which one it was, but they mentioned that when he escapes pressure, that's when he messes up. You know, he's good at escaping pressure, but then once he escapes, once he's safe, then he throws the boneheaded pick.
Yeah.
That's when he overthrows the receiver. That's when he's throwing it in the dirt. And it's like, that's not a size thing. It's just a football thing, you know? And that's what makes me think he's a bust. It's not the people around him. His receiver could be open. He's just overthrown him by 5 yards. And with the Chargers defense, I mean, they have the pass rush to get around him, to get to Bryce Young. But gosh, I mean, is he going to overthrow Adam Thielen? Is he going to overthrow Deontay Johnson all the time? And they don't have a running back. And I got to go with the Chargers right here. I mean, J.K. Dobbins is going to go for another 150.
He might, man. Revenge tour.
I know. I made the joke that, hey, he's going to go for 1,300 this year.
You did say that. If he goes 1,300, that'd be crazy.
Not to put too much stock into week 1, but you know it's bad, Nate, whenever red zone flashed to the Panthers game for the first time and Bryce Young's first throw of the year was picked. And it was just like, oh no, it's the same Panthers.
Whenever I saw the Panthers on red zone, I was like, oh no, what'd they do? If the Panthers had the ball, I'm like, how'd they turn it over? Who fumbled it? Who threw the pick? Because if the Saints had the ball, I knew it was a touchdown. It was bad. Addison, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers here as well. We pretty much touched on it. The run game for LA, I think that they will I think it's just going to be not enough opportunities for a bad offense in Carolina. And when you give a bad offense limited time on the field, limited snaps, and ask them to make the most out of little, things don't go well. Give me the Chargers. Possession time is going to be 20-minute difference here in this game. Chargers cover that 6.5.
Okay. Bobby riding solo last
Give
week.
me a Xavier Leggett touchdown just because I like his voice. I said it. Yeah, I
He has a
said it.
Great voice.
He does. He does.
Hey, last week you were the only one on the Lions, and you pulled it out. So
We might have to
That-
start playing riding solo at the end of each picks if there's someone alone.
I should start putting it in there, riding solo. All right, Seattle at New England. Line right now is Seattle minus 3.5 on the road. Patriots getting 3.5 at home is interesting. And prisoner of the moment would be Patriots just beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. Well, a little spoiler alert for you. Cincinnati couldn't beat a high school team in week 1 and 2 of the NFL season. They're 1-8 since 2020 in weeks 1 and 2. 1-8. Just spoiled my great stat for that game. I don't even care. I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment here and take the Patriots. As much as I would like to get that hook of 3.5, and it's probably going to hook me, I really liked what I saw out of McDonald's defense in Seattle. I mean, they played a bad game against Denver, and they still won, and they still covered. That's enough for me. Jacoby Brissett was fun. Good job. You didn't have to do a lot. Ramondre Stevenson is not going to be able to run all over Seattle like he did against Cincinnati. He's just not. Seattle has good defensive linemen. They are much better defensively. Give me Seattle on the road against New England minus the 3.5. Bobby.
It pains me because I love beef brisket. Give me Seattle minus the 3.5. I think they have too many weapons. I think Gerard Mayo was able to get the team ready to go for the Bengals week 1.
Yep.
I think they kind of come back down to earth. Seattle's offense is way too potent. And like you said, Nate, I absolutely love the defense in Seattle, at least what they were able to put on tape last week. So yeah, give me Seattle going in and just absolutely dominating this game. So
Colin.
Oh, I want to be different so bad, but not in this game. It does scare me. Kenneth Walker doesn't finish last week's game, but then you look Zach Charbonnet. He can get the job done for sure.
Yep.
More than enough respectable as a number 2. So give me Seattle on the road. I thought they did enough. As you mentioned, didn't play the cleanest game, but still winning and covering. Good teams win, great teams cover. Seattle did it last week. Let's do it again this week.
I like it. Sage, thoughts on Mike McDonald, your former DC?
Dude, I love Mike McDonald so much. There's a clip of him on the sideline. I don't know why Marshawn Lynch was on the sideline, but he's like back rub on the sideline.
Mhm.
I don't know what's going on over there, but vibes are high. I like the Seahawks in this game. Obviously, the Patriots pull it out last week, but like you said, the Bengals, they don't know how to start a season to save their lives. I don't know I forgot who they're playing this week, but
Kansas City.
Kansas. Oh,
In Kansas City.
At Kansas City.
anyways.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Anyways, no, I think their defense is just going to gel a lot more. I think they could use that extra that edge rusher that they traded away to the Bears. They got 2 sacks game, and that would have helped them out a lot more last week and even this week. And Darryl Green, but hey, Seahawks are going to get the job done in Gillette this week. Kenneth Walker, I think he's going to be good to go, and he's going to take another 70% of the snaps and run all over this Patriots defense.
Yeah. Man, I really hate drafting in fantasy with you guys because you guys actually know what you're doing. I prefer to be in a league of idiots because my 2 running backs that I was like targeting like 3rd, 4th round were Kenneth Walker and James Cook, and I couldn't get either of them. So I'm really pissed about that because they both looked fantastic last weekend. Addison, are we clean sweeping the Seahawks?
We are going to clean sweep the Seahawks here, and that's because although the Patriots were able to win last week, it's a week 1 game. Like we said it last week, that we're going to look back in December and be like, how the hell did the Patriots, who have 3 wins, 2 wins, beat the Bengals, who have 10? But it's week 1, and during that game, the Patriots tried to lose as well. The Bengals just continuously choked it even worse. But Patriots scoring 16 points is not enough. Your quarterback not throwing a touchdown, only throwing 125 yards is not enough. Trust me, as a Bears fan, I'm tweaking because that's what happened for us. So give me the Seahawks here. Like you said, pretty much we touched on it. Kenneth Walker plays big game. Seattle's offense is just too much for the Patriots. Give me the Seahawks to cover on the road.
I like it. I think not the last game of noon. Never mind. We got several more. New Orleans at Dallas. We got Zeke on the pod just below. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that is indeed Ezekiel Elliott right there. Looks just like him. Looked great last week. The current line is Dallas minus 6.5 at home. Dallas looked dominant in every facet of the football game. I think what I liked the most about Dallas's game plan was how McCarthy adjusted when he realized that there wasn't a competent quarterback on the Browns. Like, oh, the Browns aren't going to score on us. Let's go conservative. Let's take it easy. Just move the ball, kill the clock, or let our defense do its thing. I think that was smart. the Saints are going to be riding high. The Saints are going to be a trendy upset pick, I think, because they just bodied the Panthers. I mean, absolutely bodied them. But I love Dallas in this spot. At home, too, Dallas was a fantastic home team last year. One of, if not the best team at home last year. Road was where they struggled. They just kicked the Browns' ass on the road. Now they're coming home. Give me the Cowboys all day long on Sunday. Bobby.
I'm torn on this one. I got the Saints. Give me the Saints plus the 6.5. Hopefully Lattimore's able to lock down CD just a little bit. And I know it's crazy, but I'm really hoping too that at some point that quiet offseason that Dallas has, maybe in this game comes back to bite him. I still do like Dallas to win the game. But Derek Carr looked like a competent quarterback. Have Alvin Kamara in fantasy. He's still going to get receptions out of the backfield. So, and Rashid Shaheed also just a deep bomb threat. So, I do like the Saints plus the 6.5. But I do expect the Cowboys to win the game, but hopefully they can keep it close. So give me the Saints plus the 6.5. So,
Okay, I like it. Colin, you're last. Sage, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, if I could take Collins spread, I'd take the Saints at plus 44.5. But
Yes,
unfortunately, it is 6.5.
It's a sucker bet. It's a sucker bet.
don't do it.
Unfortunately, I'm going to roll with the Cowboys right here at home. I mean, the Saints don't let the score fool you because they did have, unfortunately, even though they have Alvin Kamara, they had Taysom Hill running the ball in short third down situations. You know, Taysom Hill is not a running back. Granted, no one knows what he is, but he's not a running back for sure. Do they have a short yardage running back? I don't think so. And that's what they're going to need to control the time of this game. And if you see Taysom Hill back there, they have the Cowboys have the defensive line to take him down. Even though he's a big boy, I mean, Micah Parsons can shut that shit down. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys right here because of that defense. And because I don't believe Derek Carr can do it 2 times in 2 weeks.
Okay, I like it. Addison.
Well, as my name states, Zeke's better now than he was the first stint with the Cowboys. Hot take, though, for real for this year, Zeke's going to lead the league in rushing touchdowns. Give me like 16, 17 rushing touchdowns for Zeke. Sure, there might not be yards, but that offense is going to move the ball like they did last week. Even in Cleveland, the offense still looked better than Cleveland's defense, and the Cowboys' special teams look great. I'm on the Cowboys here. I said it last week talking about the Saints when we picked the game. It's early season false hope. It's what Derek Carr is good at. Sure, he looked great, 19 for 23, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Well, reality is coming soon, and that's week 2 against these Cowboys. I'm just going to take the Cowboys at home. It's a place they were dominant last season, and I think that continues this year. Give me the Cowboys.
I like it.
Well,
Colin,
Jamal,
tell us why the Saints are going to cover the 6.5.
I'm actually taking the Cowboys.
What?
New
I got to
year,
erase
new
your
me.
letter.
I'm not picking against them every game
Whoa.
because this is the game I would be surprised if Derek Carr took a snap in the fourth quarter. I think the Cowboys might just drop hog. I mean, you talk about last week, couple things real quick. Number one, having a goal line running back that can actually move the ball and move bodies near the goal line. Huge, something they missed last year. That Dak throw to CD on the sideline with Denzel Ward all over him. Beautiful. And then talk about the 2 new linebackers. One guy returning from injury, one guy joining the team this year, Eric Kendricks and DeMarvion Overshawn looked very good against Cleveland. Granted, it was Cleveland's offense, so we'll see. But give me the Cowboys minus 6.5 at home. They're going to run it up.
I also want to shout out McCarthy, though, as well, just for getting CD involved on those jet sweeps as well. With Cleveland having an elite secondary, CD was still able to make a couple good plays with the ball in the air, but get him the ball no matter what. I don't care if it is in the backfield. He will make a play, and CD showed he was explosive whenever the ball is in his hand. Got to give McCarthy credit for getting a little bit different, how I would say they get CD Lamb the ball. So,
Yeah, I like it.
Real quick, putting you guys on game. Brandon Aubrey over kicking points every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
That feels like a reasonable bet to make, I would
Dude
say.
drilled a 66-yarder outside.
Guys,
they should have let him kick the 71. They should have let him
Yeah,
kick
they
it. He would have made it.
They took a
He would've
delayed
made it.
game with 4 seconds left with 2 timeouts.
That's so bad.
Why are we not
They shouldn't.
burning a timeout? I don't know. Let's move on.
Okay. All right. Next up, we've got an NFC East matchup between a couple of teams that looked like real ass last week. We've got the New York Giants, who are just a mess, And Washington, who can be fun, maybe a little fun, but wow, is that defense just as bad as I was worried it was going to be? I mean, that defense is abysmal. Dan Quinn's got a lot of work to do for him. However, fun fact, I'm sure you guys have seen this statistic on Daniel Jones because it has been all over the internet today. More pick sixes than touchdowns to his own teammates in the last 2 seasons of football. Since he signed a $40 million a year contract, he has thrown 2 touchdowns to Giants players, 3 touchdowns to opposing teams' players. And he's thrown 8 total interceptions. So he is on a 1-to-4 ratio. He's bad. And that clip of the Giants GM on Hard Knocks saying, well, we got a $40 million quarterback. What are we paying him to hand the ball off to a $12 million back for? It's like, well, you should have probably just gotten rid of the $40 million quarterback and kept the $12 million back who has more touchdowns in one game than Daniel Jones has thrown for in the last 2 seasons combined. So I don't know. Maybe we should be GMs. Either way, Washington -1.5 feels like free money to me. How are they going to stop Jaden Daniels in the offense? They can't score on anybody. So I'm not worried about Washington's defense here. I mean, where was Brian Burns last week for the Giants? Where was Dexter Lawrence? Where was Kayvon Thibodeau? Nowhere to be seen against Minnesota? Seriously? No. Washington -1.5. I love this play this week. Bobby.
Minus the 1.5 as well. I will not bet on the Giants at all this year. They may actually not win a game. So just give me the Commanders. I don't even need to make a case. Just Commanders offense much better than anything the Giants could hope to be offensively. And honestly, their defense didn't show up whatsoever. So give me the Commanders minus the 1.5. Hopefully Jaden Daniels gets another rushing touchdown. He at least makes football fun. That might be the only bright spot in this game. So give me the Commanders.
Colin, matchup between 2 of your divisional rivals. Thoughts?
Yeah, before we started game picks, we chose one loser and one winner of week 1, and I almost chose the Giants owner as the loser of week 1. Because the Hard Knocks or whatever it was, where he's like, I'm going to hard time sleeping tonight if Saquon goes to Philly.
Yep.
And then he scores 3 touchdowns and your team gets blown out at home by Sam Darnold. He might have been the biggest loser week 1, the Giants owner. Well, and GM and everybody.
They're fired.
Long story short, took the Giants. I was on my own last week. And you bet I'm doing it again this week. Because nothing says insanity like continuing the poor decisions. There's going to be shit oozing out of the pipes in Washington. There's going to be shit oozing off the Giants sideline. So give me those Giants.
There is. Love it. Sage.
This is such a shit game. But I do love Jaden Daniels. He was the only bright spot for them in a 17-point loss they had last week, which didn't even look that close. But one stat for Jaden Daniels that happened last week, he had 3 more rushes than RG3 ever had in a game in his first game. Huh. He absolutely crushed it on the ground. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. Great for my fantasy team. Made me look great. Appreciate you, Jaden. But unfortunately, Danny Dimes can also run on the other side of the ball, and they're going to need someone to run the ball. So I think they're going to turn to that against this terrible Commanders defense. And I think the Giants are going to pull this one out, surprisingly. I think the Commanders, last week their leading receiver was Austin Eckler with 52 yards. And then their leading wide receiver was Luke McCaffrey, 3 catches for 18 yards. Terry McLaurin had 2 for 17. If they become that one-dimensional, I feel like the Giants can at least contain that to some degree. You would hope so. Yeah. And if they can't, I won't pick them the rest of the season. So, Giants, it's in your court, but I'll take them.
Okay, I like it. Addison, one of these teams may have been picked to win this division. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this football game?
Well, I think that team that I did pick to win this division, and that was Washington Commanders, should be the other name, but we'll move on. Jaden Daniels' lower half is a better NFL quarterback than Daniel Jones. Give me the Washington Commanders to cover big time. Jaden Daniels, easily another rushing touchdown. Give me at least 80+ on the ground. Guy's going to make a case for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's going to fight for it. I think.
I think he's the leader right now.
Yeah, 100% he is. 100%. Maybe Joe Alt.
Yeah, maybe Joe Alt. Hey, they're weapons too.
Imagine they give it to a lineman. Good God.
That'd be hilarious.
The season for sure.
He's definitely getting one. Next up, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. Biggest spread of the week. Lions -7. That's shocking to me, honest to God. That is shocking to me that they're -7 here. Detroit didn't look fantastic against the Rams. Now, the Rams are a solid team, But Tampa Bay is a winner from week 1, like a widely regarded winner from week 1 with how good that they looked against a terrible Washington defense, to be fair. The Lions have a much better defense. However, the secondary is also kind of dicey. I like Tampa Bay to cover the 7 points in this game. I really do. I think Tampa Bay is riding high. Tampa Bay looks strong. If it was Detroit -4, I'd love Detroit. It's not. It's -7. I like Tampa Bay to cover here. Bobby.
Yeah, give me the same thing. I think Detroit's really their identity this year is going to be running the ball, and I hope Vita Vea can clog up that middle, make it tough for him. I have Amon-Ra in fantasy, and that sucked. So yeah, I think I don't expect Baker to come out and light it up like he did week 1, but I do think they can make it a close, competitive game. Could see the Lions obviously winning the game, but that 7-point spread is a lot, and I think the Bucks, even though we don't really talk about them a lot, I do think they have a decent enough team to compete. They have weapons. Baker's been very competent with his quarterback play. And like I said, I do like the 7. So give me the Bucks in this one, plus the 7.
Okay. I like it. Colin.
Yeah, both teams great week 1s. Really, their number 2 receivers both had great week 1s. Chris Godwin for the Bucks and Jameson Williams. Welcome to the NFL, pal.
Yes.
Finally looking like that first rounder you were.
Yeah.
Give me the Lions at home. I feel like they played poorly against the Rams. They probably should have lost outright against the Rams, and they ended up winning by 6 in overtime. So if you're giving me 7 against the Bucks, I could very easily see them scoring 30 plus and holding the Bucks to the low 20s and just barely covering this. So give me the Lions.
Okay. Sage.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Bucks right here at +7. I mean, they put up a lot of points last week, even though terrible defense they played against. But hey, Mike Evans got 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin looks like he never tore his ACL. Jalen McMillan looks like a stud. Rashad White can catch the ball back, and Bucky Irving apparently can run the ball. They looks like they have a full offense right now.
Yeah.
And the Lions, they just played the Rams pretty close. I don't see much difference right now if Baker keeps this up from the Rams to the Bucks. Do notice the Lions, they just played both of these teams in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And the Bucks put up a big fight.
Yeah, they did.
It's kind of wild. They start their year with 2 playoff matchups back to back.
Rematches.
I do think the Lions will pull this one out, but I think the Bucks hang on just enough. I think Baker Mayfield's got some fight. I wouldn't be surprised if it was an upset. But I can't. This is one game I can't.
Yeah, this one's tricky. Addison, what are you going with here?
I'm also on the Bucks here, and it's because the Lions secondary, as much as talk was about how they beefed it up, Matt Stafford still was able to throw for over 300 yards. With Puka Nacua getting injured mid-game, all eyes should have been on Cooper Kupp, and yet he was still able to haul in 14 catches, over 100 yards. And I'm looking on the Tampa Bay sideline and seeing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and the way Baker Mayfield was able to move the ball last week. I'm just inclined to go with the points here in a good game. I do have to shout out Detroit blowing the lead to winning the game. I think that shows that they're going to be a legitimate team this year because they had some adversity. They could have folded under pressure in week 1. Instead, they were able to bounce back and get the victory in OT. I think they could win the game money line, but I'm going to take the points here with the Tampa Bay offense being as explosive as it looked last week.
Okay, I like it. Colin riding solo with Detroit. I like it. Just like Bobby rode solo. I'm not cutting that at all.
They second biggest spread. Can't forget my Ravens.
Oh, thank you. You're right. Second biggest spread. Good call. My bad. No respect. My bad. All right. Next up, we've got the Indianapolis Colts traveling to take on the Green Bay Packers. The Sansoni household is going to be a civil war.
Yeah,
my God. In shambles. The line is Green Bay plus 3.5. So obviously I wrote it like that, which is weird. It's Indy minus 3.5. So 3.5 point favorites on the road. I'm going to be honest. I've changed my pick and I don't have any reason for it. It should be Indianapolis minus 3.5. It should be Indianapolis minus 3.5 because they have their quarterback. The Packers don't, man. They're trying. I literally wrote here Malik Willis at quarterback. You mean the guy who couldn't even get a cup of coffee in Tennessee? Couldn't even be given a shot in Tennessee that they went with Will Levis, who looked like that against the Bears? We're not even going to. Now, this is the starting quarterback. Are we sure? The Colts could not stop the run against the Texans. They just couldn't. They gave up 213 yards on the ground to the Texans. That is brutal. Green Bay is going to run the ball. Now, the difference, obviously, is you have to actually game plan for C.J. Stroud in the pass game, which then opens up the running game. You really don't have to game plan for Malik Willis a whole lot, I don't think. I do like Green Bay's coaching staff, and I feel like I'm taking all of the sucker picks this week, so I'm going weird this one, and I'm taking Green Bay and give me the hook. I've been hooked so many times already this season. Just give me the 3.5 hook. I don't know. Colts are going to win this football game probably by 25. Give me Green Bay plus 3.5. Bobby, where are you at here? You're last. Colin, what you got?
Yeah, I really want to take the Colts because I'm just not a big Malik Willis believer. I wasn't at the time of the draft. I'm not now.
Nope.
I do have a weird feeling LaFleur and those weapons are just enough to move the ball. They like the underneath stuff. They like the route running. They like the end arounds. But then you look at what Saquon and the Eagles did against this Packer defense, and you see Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson back there. So give me, with the dumbass pick of the week, I'd rather be on my own for it, but Nate, up on the wagon. Others are welcome. Give me the Packers plus a 3.5.
Dumbass pick of the week.
I honestly
God, I
forgot
love
about
that.
it again this week, so that's why it's late, because it probably would have been a different team, but that's all right.
Respect. I like it. Sage, thoughts on this game?
I think this game's going to be a shit show for the Packers. I think they're going to lose like 20. I think Malik Willis, he got there 12 days ago. And you really think this man knows the playbook better than the backup quarterback that was there all last season?
No.
I don't understand the play to have him in. I'm so lost as to what the Packers are doing. I think LaFleur's a great coach. I don't understand this call. I think Anthony Richardson is going to go 9 for 300.
Okay. Yeah, just deep balls.
Yeah. Like, honestly, don't even give me the win by 10. Like,
Yeah. It might get ugly. It could very well get ugly. Addison, you've been animated over there about this one. What you got?
I am on the Indianapolis Colts here, and I think it is only because Jordan Love is out. He's going to show why he's worth that big contract because, sure, the weapons are there, the coach is there on the floor. Doesn't matter when you don't have a quarterback that can play at least average football in the NFL. I don't think Malik Willis will be able to do that this week. Obviously, the concern for the Colts defense is the secondary being buns, but the run game against the Texans, that's where the Colts were dominant last season and in shutting down the rush and also creating pressure. So I want to see that this week. Don't let Josh Jacobs have a big game, especially with Malik Willis at quarterback, but I think that will be the case. And on the offensive side of the ball, Shane Steichen is going to drop a game plan that keeps the ball in the Colts' hands, chews clock, uses a lot of Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson on the ground. I think the Colts cover this one easy.
Okay. Bobby, it seems like this happens a lot. You are the last pick, and it is 2-2. Where are you going?
Obviously, I got to go with the Colts on this one. Honestly, though, I do agree. If Jordan Love's playing, I would hammer the Packers. When the game is played, Malik Willis will have been a Packer for 20 days. He was terrible with the Titans. Honestly, Juju Brents is out. It doesn't matter. We could literally not dress a cornerback for this game, and I don't think it'll matter. We load the box. You stop Jacobs in the run game. I will say DeForest Buckner did have a back injury to end the game against the Texans. So that is a little bit concerning, but no, I think we right the ship. Grover Stewart's going to have a big game clogging up the middle. I do think too, the Texans, while they did have a lot of yards against us, they weren't able to break any big runs. I think Joe Mixon's longest run was only like 13 yards,
13.
which when you have 150 yards, that's actually kind of insane. And I will say this, Gus Bradley talked earlier today. He said the main goal of this pass game against the Texans was to make sure Stroud and that three-headed monster of weapons they have at receiver didn't take over the game and didn't do what they did to us last year. I'm hoping Zaire Franklin actually decides to play some football this week, but yeah, I think the Colts offense is just way too potent. Especially if Josh Downs comes back, we'll have another guy underneath, but I fully expect Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor to go absolutely ballistic in the run game. And I absolutely love the Colts to go into Lambeau and just absolutely curb stomp them. I just have zero faith in Malik Willis. I wouldn't be shocked if Sean Clifford comes in from the practice squad to play just because you at least know what you're getting with him. I know he's not good by any means, but he can at least get the ball out to whoever. I do think the Packers have weapons. I just don't think Malik Willis is the guy to get them the ball. So I do love the Colts here. You always hate injuries, but shoot, if Love's going to be out a game or two, we'll happily have it against the Colts.
Darn it.
Yeah, going to be a big feud in the Sansoni household this week. Also living in Wisconsin, all I'm hearing about on the radio is the Packers. So very much so looking forward to the Colts getting a big win here. So, and covering the spread as well. So
Yeah. Oh man, I want to switch my pick back to the Colts. I even typed it up and like had my initial next to the Colts and everything, and then I'm just sitting here getting a weird feeling.
I will say if DeForest Buckner's out and Taven Bryant starts for us, I throw away my pick because Taven Bryant might be the worst defensive tackle to play in the NFL right now. But hopefully DeForest Buckner, he's tough as nails, so hopefully he's back and playing. So
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not moving off it. I'm staying with the SeatGeek dumbass pick of the week. I'm riding with it, baby. Next up, we've got an NFC West matchup. This is the hardest game of the week for me to pick. It has been the whole time. It's the LA Rams going to Arizona. Lines Arizona -1.5. It's a pick 'em basically. I mean, you're basically picking money line here. And if this was first half, Arizona, I'm all in. Arizona looks fantastic. And then Sean McDermott, who's actually been there, done that as a head coach for a little while, like, all right, let's adjust. And Jonathan Gannon's like, I can't do that. So we're going to lose. Sorry, guys. That concerns me. I really like McVay as the coach going up against Arizona. Arizona's super volatile. How do you only give the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. one time? How do you do that? How does that part of your game plan? I don't understand that. The Rams have a much better defensive line than the Bills do. The Bills' defensive line's all banged up and hurt. Just probably a better defense overall, honestly, in LA than in Buffalo. It is in Arizona. Again, this is the hardest game for me to pick. I have the Rams. I'm taking the Rams plus the 1.5 points. I don't like it, though. It freaks me out. It's one of those ones where I could argue both ways. So I'm going to go with the Rams. Just why not? Bobby.
yeah, I have the Rams as well. I do think the two draft picks on the defensive line for the Rams actually did look all right throughout the game. I know Puka's out. However, Cooper Kupp, I mean, it's just unstoppable. It doesn't matter if he's the only receiver on the field. He's somehow going to get his touches, get his yards, get receptions. Matt Stafford, I think that is a big loss, especially going into like anytime they play Detroit, it's a big game for him. But I do think Williams has a huge game too. I'm just not super confident in the Cardinals yet, even though I really do like their team weapons offensively. I think the Rams find a way to get it done just based off head coaches alone. I think McVay is too much of a stud to lose this game. So I got the Rams in this one.
Okay. I like that. Colin.
There's a team Sean McVay kind of owns more than any other team, and it happens to be the Arizona Cardinals. And I really see them, I really want to put my bare foot in the air, but I also don't want to hike it all the way up to my head to get it in frame. But the dogs are barking this week over here. The dogs are barking, and give me the Rams, a better team, the better coach on the road. Give me those Los Angeles Rams.
Dogs are barking. Yes. Sage, what you got here?
Everything screams Rams right now, except for that injury report where half their line might be out on offense. And that might be the great equalizer with this bad Cardinals defense. They might actually get some pressure with a third string left tackle coming in to protect Matthew Stafford. I'm going to go with the Cardinals right here. I think their offense was absolutely rolling. They had a three-headed monster in their running backs. And I'm counting Kyler Murray in that because he was running all over the field. And I think Harrison Jr., he actually gets his breakout game in this game because they don't have some crazy good corners. And give me the Arizona Cardinals. I'm excited for this one.
All right, I like it. Addison, you're big Cardinals guy.
Big Cardinals guy over here. Last week, an opportunity to win. Marvin Harrison was open deep, but just Kyler Murray didn't see him. Marvin Harrison, you see the picture, no Bills defender in the picture, and Marvin Harrison's wide stanking open. And also got a shout out to Cardinals for the first kickoff return for a touchdown in the dynamic kickoff. But that being 7 of the points they scored in a close game, are you going to be able to replicate that? I do not know, but I am on the Cardinals here, plus the 1.5 at home or whatever the line is. I'm still on the Cardinals regardless. Yeah, 1.5. Okay, yeah, I'm on the Cardinals here. It's going to be a close one. The banged up Rams a little bit. I think the fact that Puka is out, all attention on Cooper Kupp. And let's see what the Rams offense looks like then. Give me the Cardinals here to get a victory to move to 1-1.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they may be putting Puka on the IR, I'm seeing, with an PCL sprain.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
man. That sucks.
I will say the guy that stepped in for him, Tyler Johnson.
Yeah,
He-
Tyler
he
Johnson.
had,
Tyler Johnson. Yeah.
Well, five catches for 79 yards, and I think he's going to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, deep ball guy.
Big deep ball guy. All right, next up, we've got a interesting game. Pittsburgh at Denver. The line right now is Pittsburgh -3. Pittsburgh, only team in the AFC North with a victory, just like we all predicted. It's Pittsburgh -3 here. I am going with Pittsburgh in this game on the road. Bo Nix, I mean, looked really bad against Seattle. Let's just call it what it is. Like, they took away his underneath stuff, and all of a sudden he's throwing picks left and right because he didn't know what was going on. Like, they could have turned him over several more times. Pittsburgh's defense is just as good as Seattle's defense. Pittsburgh just absolutely bottled up the Falcons. I think that Knicks will really struggle in this game. I love the under in this game. I'm sure it's like maybe 39.5 or 40 points. So I love the under in this game for sure. But I'm going to take Pittsburgh on the road here to get their second straight road win. Go Pittsburgh. Bobby.
Yeah, I got Pittsburgh. I think Watt's a game wrecker. I don't know if Bo Nix can throw it longer than 10 yards. Yeah, I think Fields might continue to get some rushing yards. I don't know. I think Pittsburgh, somehow Mike Tomlin continues to do it year in and year out where just can't have a losing record. If I'm a Steelers fan, this is one you kind of got to win, especially with all the turmoil in Denver. So yeah, I like the Steelers in this spot. George Pickens, I think, continues to shine as a receiver for them as well this week, even against Surtain. So like I said, I like the Steelers a lot. That defense is just so smash mouth, and Mike Tomlin's a great head coach.
Over under on that game is 36.5. That is low. Alan, thoughts on this game?
You see the name in the Zoom.
Oh, baby. Broncos money line.
Give me the
Okay.
+3.
You'll take the points.
Give me the points.
Of
But
course.
give me the Broncos too. I think this is theme of the week this week. Last week you had to prove it. This week we're overcorrecting. So give me
Okay.
the Broncos at home to cover the 3. At worst, push.
Okay.
Come on. Be gentlemen about it.
Yeah, come on. Sage, what you got?
It kills me to say, but I think the Steelers are going to go 2-0.
Yeah.
In the 2024 season, year of our Lord, and Mike Tomlin is just going to coach just enough to squeak out another victory. And the Broncos, I mean, I think Bo Nix had the most turnover-worthy plays in the NFL last week. There were several drop. Yeah, there were several drop picks, several just air mails, several. I mean, they started turning into his legs because he couldn't throw, which you don't see Sean Payton coach often. They don't have anyone to throw to against this defense. TJ Watt put on his Superman cape last week, and I think he's going to do it again. Defensive Player of the Year season incoming. Give me the Steelers, I say reluctantly.
Big Steelers fan down there. Wow. Addison, what you got in this game?
This could have been a matchup between two teams to not score an offensive touchdown until Bo Nix scrambled in that late, unnecessary touchdown for the Broncos because Seattle was pretty much playing don't care defense at that point.
Yep.
I think Justin Fields and that Steelers offense are going to be blessed to go up against another putrid offense in the Broncos. And I think the Steelers will cover because of that. The defense last week, I can't overlook what they did to Atlanta. And Atlanta actually has weapons everywhere. Cortland Sutton targeted 12 times, only 4 receptions. That's going to be a problem if you cannot get your number one guy involved. And also Bo Nix, again, leading rusher, 5 for 35. Other than that, though, 27 yards for Jaleel McLaughlin and Javonte Williams, 8 for 23. So they really couldn't get it going on the ground. And if you can only throw short, it's just not built for success, especially against a monstrous defense in Pittsburgh. The offense might be bad there, but they're going to do enough to cover against these Broncos.
Okay. I like that. Next up, we've got the last 4:00 game. Got him. Yes. Cincinnati at Kansas City. Currently, the line is Kansas City -5.5. And I said it earlier, Bengals, since 2020, they are 1-8 in weeks 1 and 2. And they just lost at home to Jacoby Brissett. They just it's trash at processing, TBH. But Williams looks so bad as well. Higgins already not ruled out officially, but Higgins, they've basically said like it's unlikely he will play. Jamar Chase doesn't care. I don't know if you guys saw like the post-game interview. He's checked out until he gets paid, man. He just doesn't give a shit. It doesn't seem like. And you're only giving the Chiefs 5.5. We sleep all night. Stop it. I'm taking the Chiefs minus the 5.5 here. I absolutely love them in this spot at home against the Bengals team, who is absolutely reeling. I mean, they kept showing Burrow with that wrist. He kept moving it like it doesn't feel right still. That's trouble. That is trouble. Bob, what do you got here?
We on?
Well, you're on.
Yeah, I hate the Bengals. Whoever, I don't even care who they're playing. The Bengals suck. So
Fair. Bob's on the Chiefs. Respect. Colin.
Yeah, it's tough at this moment after we saw week one. This is the game I'm below my my overcorrection route I'm taking this week in strategy because there's no way I can take Cincy plus the 5.5 right now. So give me Kansas City at home.
Yeah.
And
Great.
Burrowhead.
In Burrowhead.
how is that only the spread? By the way,
I don't know.
I just don't even understand that.
And that has me worried.
That's fair.
What do they know?
They don't know shit.
They don't know shit. Sage, tell us about it.
They don't know shit. The Bengals, I'm telling you right now, they're going to miss the playoffs this year. Zach Taylor's going to get fired 15, and Joe Burrow is a 1.5 season wonder. Give me the Chiefs plus 10 or minus 10.
Okay. Fair. Addison.
I think
I will say that Colin versus Chocolate Chip Waffles wins every time.
Every time.
I will
That
say
is fact.
this, and that
Correct.
Burrow narrative starts so hot every year. He sucks. He's this wonder boy that had a good season, and then they win 11 games after starting 0-2. And
Yep.
they're 0-4. I don't care. They'll still make it.
What's that?
Until that doesn't happen, it's gonna happen. But guess what? This is still early in the season. This is against Kansas City. This is in KC. My name is sort of a joke, but it's not. Give me Worthy 3 touchdowns. Screw it. Chiefs to cover big time. I think Mahomes is not doing that a lot because he only does it when they need to run up tempo. And guess what? They're not going to need to because they're going to dominate this game start to finish.
Okay. Clean sweep for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I don't understand why this line's so low. Like, Jamar Chase did not play well. T. Higgins is already out. Their running game was bad. Joe Burrow looked off. The offensive line couldn't block for shit. And they couldn't stop Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots. What are we doing? I
Burrow
don't know.
can't grip a water bottle. What are we
No,
talking
he
about?
literally
here?
couldn't grab the water bottle right. Yeah, his arm is messed up, man. They're in trouble. They are in trouble. Sunday Night Football, big one. Chicago Bears traveling to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. Those Bears. Currently, the line is Houston minus 6.5. I can't pick a Bears game to save my life. I haven't been able to do it ever. Last year, it's well documented. This year, I'm already 0-1, having taken the Titans. Addison's Cody Rupp. And I want to take the Bears plus the 6.5 points. I really do. I think they're going to open up the playbook a little bit. Last week, it seemed like it was designed not to let Caleb do anything. We're just going to try and ease you into this. They can't do that this week. I foresee it being a close game. Primetime games, lower scoring. I mean, I could see this one. I could see the Bears pulling off a stinker and winning this one. I think Houston is damn good, but Houston went to the wire against Indy last week, who was also damn good. I don't know. It's too many points for me. Give me Chicago plus 6.5 here. Bobby.
Stroud boys. I think the Texans offense is way too potent. I think that triple-headed monster is just crazy. Also, the Texans defense is pretty serious, especially their secondary. Stingley's a stud. I do think the Bears will win a lot of games this year. But I just think the Texans really are going to prove to a lot of people that they are a team to be reckoned with, going to be one of the best teams in the AFC, going to be a championship contender year in and year out, which I hate to say, being in the AFC South. But yeah, until further notice, unless Stroud snaps both of his legs, give me the Texans. So
Whoa.
You were talking that talk in the group chat, which will stay in the group chat. That was cracking me up. All right.
I hadn't even
Bobby
drank
Lundstedt.
yet. Yeah.
I know. We were like, oh,
man.
Bobby's in the
We're
jacket.
convinced.
I did actually dislocate my shoulder on that Richardson touchdown, by the way. I'm on IR for the rest of the year, but that's a song for another time. So
Fair enough. Colin, what you got?
Yeah, it's tough looking at this game because I really want to root for Addison's Bears here. You're looking at that great trio at wide receiver and how healthy they might be in week 2 of the season, and that's kind of a concern for me at this point. Is there an update on the Addison, or is just one of the 3 playing? Or
Yeah, so Moore and Allen healthy will play. Odunze most likely not, but sprained grade 1 knee, so he's looking at potentially 1 to 3 weeks out. Could be no time, but I would lean to the Bears will take it safe with him, and he'll probably be out a couple weeks to a month.
I don't know how much that affected my pick. It probably did at least a little bit. But just give me the Texans at this point. They're one of those teams where I know we haven't done our power rankings or anything after week 1, but Texans are one of those teams for sure that look damn good. They look the part.
Yeah.
So give me them minus a 6.5 at home on Sunday night.
I like it. Sage.
Obviously, the schedule makers were hoping Caleb Williams lit up the Titans first week and a hot game. But unfortunately, the Bears looked like the poor man's Texans with their 3-headed monster not doing shit last week. But Swift looked like a poor man's Damian Pierce. Joe Mixon. Pierce could do it too, though. Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears were the only good parts of last week against the Bears defense. So I'm going to roll with the Texans right here. I think C.J. Stroud is a rich man's Caleb Williams because he looks like a bust. But I know. I like big here.
Sage. Taking shots.
I mean, he did.
Oh, my. Addison, rebuttal.
Fine.
He's gone, man. I can't even hear that bullshit argument. It's so trash. The internet doesn't even be heard.
Burger King Wi-Fi. Burger King Wi-Fi.
No, all I gotta say is this. Williams did look like trash. To the Texans defense, though, against the Colts, gave up over 7 yards a play. Not great. So that's hopefully a good sign for the Bears offense. The Bears offense did put them in good positions last week, multiple times, second and short, and then no first down. Going to need to see some first downs early and often for this Bears offense, but the 6.5 is a lot of points. Last week, I took the Titans. The Bears defense showed me why that was dumb. I'm going to take the Bears here, not for the homer pick, but because it's a primetime game, and the Bears defense looks like it's legit. Top 10. The Darrell Taylor trade from the Seahawks, insane. I mean, he looks like a guy. He's got burst off the edge. He's clearly our second best pass rusher behind Sweat. Going to need to see a little bit of a beef up on the inside, guys, because Sage, as you pointed out, Pollard and Spears were able to have good games. Joe Mixon having the good game last week. Want to see the run game shut down a little bit. But it's going to be a tough one. The Texans are going to move the ball, and they're going to score points. So the Bears offense has to arise to the challenge because the defense is not going to win you the football game this week or even let you cover. But I am anticipating the Bears offense to score some touchdowns finally in week 2, at least one, please. But enough to cover the 6.5 in a primetime game on Sunday Night Football.
I like that. Yeah, I'm with you again. Although I tell you what, if the Bears do not cover here, you and I cannot be on the same side for a Bears game ever again.
Never again.
Never again. That's it. That's it. You pick, I pick the other way. We'll call it good. All right, Monday night, last game of the week 2 slate. It's the Battle of the Birds. Atlanta Falcons traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. The Eagles coming off of a big win in Brazil. Although their offense looked a little dicey outside of Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts missed some throws, man. He did not. Jalen Hurts might have pulled off one of the greatest fleece jobs of all time, getting the Eagles to pay him off of his Super Bowl run. Hurts better than Tua TVH. What am I catching strays for? I mean, Jalen Hurts took him to the Super Bowl. Great year. Last year, So far this year, we'll see. But, man, did Atlanta look bad against Pittsburgh. I mean, they scored 10 points. The Eagles' defense is just as good as them. Philly at home, that place is going to be loud. Give me Philly minus 6.5 here at home. Bobby.
Yeah, honestly, I think the Eagles dominate this game. I think the addition of I think he's going to win offensive player. Like, he is a stud. He is looking the part. Yep. I think that the Giants are just, anyway, yeah, I think the Eagles absolutely dominate this game until the Falcons prove otherwise. Like I said, I think Kirk is still having issues with that injury, or at least questioning, his ability and what's going to happen if he does get hit, if he takes any blow to that leg. So I do like the Eagles here. And once again, I think that the addition of Saquon they have so many weapons, so many options to pick you apart. And also, hopefully, the young secondary can just come in on the defensive side for the Eagles and really put this game away. So I like the Eagles a lot in this pick in prime time and prime time Kirk. So give me the Eagles.
True, very true. Okay, Colin.
Yeah, I really want to take the Falcons, but yet again, I just can't do it. Just the way they looked last week, I just don't trust them quite yet. Got to see it happen a couple more weeks before I really buy in. I was so high on Saquon all off season. Once again, didn't get him in any of my fantasy leagues, so that's treble. Kept him actually in our one keeper league, so that's not treble.
There you go.
But give me the Eagles minus 6.5 at home. I think this is a game that's probably 3 or 4 points going to the fourth, and then all of a sudden Philly wins by 17, and you're like, what happened to this game? So give me Philly.
Like it. Sage, what you got?
Yeah, like you said, Colin, I see it being close late in the fourth. But I just think the Eagles have the firepower to keep hammering the Falcons. And the Falcons don't have much firepower to fight back. Kyle Pitts finally scored a touchdown last week. But Kirk Cousins just does not look the same right now. It's going to take a second to knock that rust off. Unfortunately, they got to go to Philly. So they're playing 2 away games in a row because last week Atlanta was full of Pittsburgh fans. They had to do a hard count in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's sad. That it looks like their fans gave up quick. With how they performed. I mean, you got beat by only field goals last week. So hopefully they can put up some points and make this competitive, but I'm going to need to see it to believe it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Addison, are we clean sweeping your Philly Eagles?
Yeah, I believe we are going to clean sweep the Eagles here. Eagles players got to be nice to be able to step outside of the hotel and experience some fresh air and sunshine. But the way that these two teams looked last week, Jalen Hurts, obviously there were some questionable throws. I was openly saying, geez, does he suck? But looking back, the A.J. Brown interception, is sort of a miscue. That could have been a touchdown, big play. If that happens, who knows what the conversation is. But I'm on the Eagles here. The offense looks just dynamic. Going to need some clean snaps, though. Jurgens, they don't look on the same page. It's not Jason Kelce, huh? Is it Jalen Hurts? But I don't think that matters. Atlanta, until you figure it out and show it, good luck beating mediocre teams. This is a team that I said was going to win the division and in Philly. But no, legitimately, though, Philly's good and they'll cover.
Yeah. Okay, another clean sweep. That's what, 3? We've got 4 clean sweeps this week. Oh boy, that makes me
one of them last week at least.
nervous.
Right?
We did. Yeah, we went 1 and 2 in clean sweeps last week. We went 1 and 1. 1 and 1.
Okay.
Cincinnati was our other one. Cincinnati was the other one. Yikes.
Just taking a quick shot, just because Nate, you brought up the fleecing of that the Super Bowl run. First round bye, beat Daniel Jones at home, beat Josh Jackson after Brock Purdy went down after one drive.
Yep, exactly. And then lost to Mahomes.
Yikes, dude. Number 2
200
in the league.
Yeah, got 200 plus milli off of that 1 year.
Shane Steichen. Shout out Shane Steichen.
Yeah, honestly.
And Jonathan Gannon. They carried. Alrighty. Those are the week 2 game picks. Let's dive into our mortal locks. And I have been sitting here thinking about what am I going to do for my mortal lock this weekend. I am still just absolutely struggling. So I'm not going to go first.
I got mine ready
Hit
to
it.
go. And I think it's easy. And I think 99% of America should be on this. That's why it's going to lose, especially because I'm picking it and it's my mortal. Give me those Los Angeles Harbaughs to go into Carolina and cover the 6.5. I don't think Carolina has a shot in hell to cover. I think the Chargers run game, as I touched on earlier, will be just too much, and the time of possession will be all Los Angeles, and that will lead to a cover.
Okay. I like that. Sage, you got one locked and loaded?
Yeah, I'm ready for you. Unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs covering against the Cincinnati Bengals. With the way the Bengals played last week, I think they're going to turn into a very one-dimensional team, and the Chiefs have the defense to stop that one dimension.
I agree. I'm jumping in because I figured mine out. I was saving him in case Sage wanted them. Give me the Ravens minus 9.5. It's a big spread, but I think this is going to be a grade A ass kicking. I mean, this is going to be just bad, like a running clock for the second half because we got to get off the field. This is ugly. Give me Baltimore minus 9.5. A big spread in a mortal makes me nervous, but not with this one. Not with this one. Bobby, you look like you had one ready. What you got?
It was the Chiefs, you sons of bitches.
Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna ride with the Colts this week as my mortal lock. I
Yeah.
have faith in Anthony Richardson. He's got all the upside in the world. Even if he makes mistakes, it doesn't matter because 3 passes over 50 yards. Yeah, why not? Give me the Colts. Gotta believe in them at some point, eh?
Hell yeah. I like it. Colin, last mortal. What you got?
Oh, I'm not scrambling out of the pocket. I'm flushed.
Did you lose yours?
I'm torn because I have a couple obviously for the locks at the end, and I'm wondering, do I save the riskier of the two for the locks at the end since I'm kind of competing against myself in the locks versus the mortal? I need
True.
to have some, some room to talk. But anyway, let's go with the riskier of the two. I don't care.
Huh.
Oh, I might care.
Oh, man.
Give me the Broncos +3 at home.
Denver.
Let's go, baby. Show them who the real horse is.
Wow, dude.
Let's go, Broncos.
Broncos country.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
All righty. Those are it for the Week 2 NFL game picks and our mortal locks. Last bit of business here. I think we save the power rankings. Let's get 2 weeks of football in before we get into power rankings and then have a good grasp. And also, I'm sleepy.
I'm gonna let you know
Colin.
Dolphins weren't in mine. That's all.
Wow.
If you don't have the Chiefs as your number one team in the power rankings, what are we doing? I said it.
Accurate.
They're gonna win the Super Bowl this year too. I said it.
You're probably right. You're probably
Don't
right.
get
I have San Francisco up there. But that's not for today. That's for next week. Let's see what happens. Colin, let's hear about your locks. Last week, 2-1. Are you ready, or do you need me to pass on you first?
Go ahead and pass just for grins, just so I can get the odds and everything
Okay.
down
gotcha.
here.
Sage, fantasy sleepers last week. I'm going to give you one in Yosevas. I'm going to give you one with 6 receptions or 6 targets. Led the team in targets. Didn't ball out. But listen, let's just call it what it is. If you're coming here to figure out who you should play in fantasy football week 1, you're screwed. Just don't bother. Sage, what do you got for week 2? Uh-oh. He's got.
All right,
he's
I'm
got.
casting a wider net here. I'm throwing out 2 wide receivers. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're in and
Y'all
out.
hear me?
Hit it.
Yeah, okay. I'm throwing out 2 and 2. So for wide receiver 1, give me Tyler Johnson of the Rams. He had 5 for 79 with an average of 15 yards. Without Puka out there, there's a lot of targets up for grabs. He finished with almost 100 yards without Puka playing. He fits the scheme they want to play, and they play the Cardinals next week, which, with the lackluster weapons the Bills had last week, I think Matthew Stafford throws it on him. All right? Wide receiver 2, this is deeper. I got Luke McCaffrey.
Okay. I see that a lot.
He led the receivers in catches and yards at 3 for 18. But while that doesn't seem a lot, they are playing the Giants this week, and they have no one to defend the slot receiver. I think his role is going to grow more as Jaden Daniels gets more comfortable, and he's going to look for that underneath a lot more because that defense front is supposedly going to be coming after him with a weak offensive line.
Okay. I like those 2. Those are good. I've been seeing a lot of Luke McCaffrey on my timelines.
Yeah. And then for running back, I got Jalen Wright just in case those starting 2 don't play.
Nice.
Got that big playability that we saw a lot of Achane last year. Maybe he can replicate some of that. Obviously, this does come with a bit of a, hey, this might not happen if those 2 are ready to play on Thursday. But that's why I got number 2 right here, and that is Tank Bigsby from the Jacksonville. Him and ETN had the same amount of carries in week 1, but he had almost double the amount of yards.
Yeah.
And after the fumble, Jaguars the game at the end of near the end of regulation last week, he might be in the doghouse. So Tank Bigsby, I think, is going to get the majority of the touches. And who's going to stop?
Yeah, I like that. I like the Tank Bigsby one a lot. I remember.
Tank.
I remember thinking about
No.
him last week. Like he was down every time he touched the ball, man. He's got some burst. He was looking sharp. And even if ETN hadn't fumbled, man, Bigsby looked like he deserves to carve out a chunk of that offense now going forward. So I really like that pick. That could be a sneaky one. Addison, outrageous take last week, proved to be a little too outrageous. However, that's the point. What do you got this week?
Well, this week for the outrageous take, we're going in a time machine. We're going back to 2013 for a matchup that plays this week, and that was the New Orleans Saints at the Dallas Cowboys, and the Saints were dicks. They went into Dallas and kept going for first downs when they were up gigantor.
Yep.
They got 40 first downs in a game. Give me these Dallas Cowboys to break the record with over 40 first downs in a game against the Saints and an absolute thrashing. How's that for an outrageous take?
Yes. 40 plus first downs. I love it.
Get some revenge against the
That's
Saints.
fun.
Screw you, Sean Payton, even though you're not there.
They could do it. They could do it. They might beat the piss out of them. I love it. Love it. Colin, locks. 2-1 on the year. So we're already above 500. We're already making money. Make us some more money this week. What you got?
Well, first off, I'm going to add to that outrageous take. And Mike McCarthy, better all-time head coach than Sean Payton.
Woo, that is an outrageous take.
Both have won Super Bowl.
True. True.
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. Kind of. If you did a blind side by side at the start of last year, it was very close.
Yeah.
And one's gone up, one's gone down stock wise
True.
since last year. But
Agreed.
anyways, let's get to the locks. That's not important. First one here. Talk about those first half frisky. Give me the Arizona Cardinals team total over 12.5 in the first half. I think they could come out and get 13 easy at home against the Rams, minus 125 odds there. So a little bit of juice, but you basically get 4 to 5 payout there. Next one up, I looked at a couple totals here. Do I want to go Cowboys over at home, like for the game, both sides over, or do I want to go kind of sharp? And I think I might get a little risky. And I'm going to take the under 44.5. Not really risky. Under 44.5 Giants Commanders. Once again, if the Giants score on anybody, I think the Giants D line can do enough to kind of keep Daniels contained just a little bit. So give me that under 44.5 as a second straight bet. And
Okay.
that money line parlay that will let us down for a second straight week.
Yes.
Give me the Kansas City Chiefs money line with the New York Jets money line plus
Ooh.
111.
Okay.
So basically, a little more than doubles your money. Is Kansas City losing at home to those pitiful Cincinnati Bengals, or are the
Okay.
Jets going 0-2 and really getting their fan base in shambles?
Oh, Mike Greenberg will not show up to work on Monday if they lose to the Titans.
No.
He's done. He's
So
done.
plus 111. Those are the three this week. Let's have some fun.
Okay, I love them. It's going to be another great week of football. I cannot wait, and I'm looking forward to going 16-0 in our picks. I'll just be honest. I'm calling how I see it.